I know I go use me bull. I have one intention when I check them record, and I think any one of them dodging figures. Don't doubt me, this is a fact. It's first one I meet is here. Attack without mercy.
It's the bull born across the back.
A certain man find he wants some dollars too, so he organize a union and call it new. When he find the people and them get to love his leadership, he go quit the union and play politics. Some of them who say that they preach politics is not because they have the country at heart. They jump on stage with one ton of chat, they can't fool me, I'm too smart for that all the time. I know it's the money they're getting up. All of them is
Money glutton.
all politicians.
Money glutton.
They only making sure that their pocket full.
Money glutton.
I have no exception.
Money glutton.
But before long I know I will use me bull. I have one intention when I check them records, and I find any one of them dodging figures. Don't doubt me, this is a fact.
All of them is money glutton.
Attack without mercy.
It's the bull born
Check
across
them
the back.
records, and I find any one of them dodging figures. They say Pierre Bird ruled for 25 years, and he have one ton of house and land. They tell me again that some of them come just 4 years. Now they own nearly the whole of St. John. Who will have bulldozer, they sure to have truck and bus. Me without a dollar can't make no fuss. It's enough for me to cry. They bleed in the country, try take it easy. I go tell you the reason why. All of them is
Money glutton.
no exception.
Money glutton.
They only making sure that their pocket full.
Money glutton.
All politicians.
Money glutton.
But before long I know I go use me bull. I have one intention when I check them record, and I find any one of them dodging figures. Don't doubt me, this is a fact. It's first one I meet is here. Attack without mercy.
It's the bull born across the back.
A certain man find he wants some dollars too, so he organize a union and call it new. When he find the people and them get to love his leadership, he go quit the union and play politics. Some of them who say that they preach politics is not because they have the country at heart. They jump on stage with one ton of chat, they can't fool me, I'm too smart for that all the time. I know it's the money they're getting up. All of them is
Money glutton.
all politicians.
Money glutton.
They only making sure that their pocket full.
Money glutton.
I have no exception.
Money glutton.
But before long I know I will use me bull. I have one intention when I check them records, and I find any one of them dodging figures. Don't doubt me, this is a fact. The first one I meet is here. Attack without mercy.
It's the bull born across the back.
They first start this thing as a trade unionist before he become chief minister. And when he has premier, find it still exists. He gets vexed and fire George Walter. But George come back and repent later on, organize a powerful trade union. When he come the next premier, he make himself finance minister. Believe me, not one of them is better. All of them is
money glut.
All politicians
money glut.
They only making sure that their pockets full.
Money glut.
No exception.
Money glut.
But before long, I know I'm gonna use me phone. I have one intention when I check them records, and I find any one of them dodging figures. Don't doubt me, this is a fact. The first one I meet is the air attack without mercy.
It's the bullhorn across the back.
That's right.
Studios located in the capital city of St. John's, Antigua in the Caribbean Sea.
Okay, stop there!
And our transmitter located at the highest point, Bodie Peak in the parish of St. Mary. This is ZDK Liberty Radio International 97.1 FM, the People's Radio Station.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get ready to rumble!
Yeah, I told you. You have to stand for something. Sometime at a time, imagine, hey, yo, it might be a lot of vibes and things and so, but yo, you stand up, man. You have to stand up as a man, you know. Any man that can't stand up for what they believe in, then the worst, the style that they walk over just.
Say that again.
Yeah, I told you.
Say that again.
Any man that can't stand up for what they believe in, you hear? I'm saying the worst, the style that they walk over.
Tell them no, I'm nobody's Negro. I only promoting truth that they cannot refute. I tell them no, definitely no, I'm nobody's Negro. Righteousness is my best friend, ethics and morals I defend them. I tell them no, no gambling what could turn me so. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. I'm nobody's Negro, no, no, no. Oh my, oh Lord. But I'm a riggy diggy tabby diggy thing, diggy diggy diggy. Oh Lord, oh Lord. Biddy biddy dabba, 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 biddy biddy dabba, 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 dabba.
Good night, Antigua Barbuda. Hey to our Caribbean neighbors who are locked into 97.1 ZDK Liberty Radio. Hey, let me say good night to St. Kitts. Hey, good night to Nevis, Anguilla. Hey, Montserrat. Hey, Dominica, good night to you. St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Barbados. Hey, Grenada. Guyana. Hey, good night, Trinidad and Tobago. Hey, to those who are locked into us via the World Wide Web, you very well might be on the website. That's www.radiozdk.com. Or you might be on Facebook Live, ZDK Liberty Radio 97.1. Hey, welcome aboard.
Who could be? Maybe a fisherman.
The scripture to cover tonight's program is taken from the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 29 and verse 11. And it reads, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, said the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end."
Special indeed, and you could grow up to be.
Once again, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, said the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end."
Your teacher is one.
Hey, special good night to Miss Patricia Gomes. Hey, my little sister Nicole and the family over there in the Mount Pleasant area.
Out on the sea.
Hey, my other sisters. Hey, good night, Bridget. Good night, Nola. My many nieces, especially Joan and Bernadette. Hey, big up yourself, man. Hey, my nephews. Hey, Zian. Also. Hey, big up yourself, Austin. Over there in the United States. Hey, let me say good night to cousin Annette. That's Annette James Brown. She's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And in Orlando, Florida. Hey, cousin Halima Thomas. Hey, to my second mom over there in the States, Sister Jean Galston. Hey, good night, Sister Jean. Hey, right back here in Antigua. Over in the North Grove Village. Hey, Loretta Hunt. Pick up yourself, Loretta. And down yonder here. Hey, let me say a special good night to Cassie. Hey, love you, Cassie. Hey, my stepmother, Christophine Lewis. Over there in the East Potters area. Hey, good night to you. Hey, and down in the Cooksville area. Bamsey. Hey, that's Mrs. Winifred Christopher and her family. Hey, good night. I hope and trust that all is going good. Yeah, we're gonna have a full night tonight. Many things to cover. Not much time to waste at all tonight. You're listening to ZDK Liberty Radio 97.1. Come on, work with me here. Stay tuned. We will be right back. Hey, sound of the man Willie Wawa. His contribution to the Christmas season. This one he tags, "Merry Christmas to you."
Christmas is a time we will always remember. It's the birth of Christ on the 25th of December. Our Savior was born in a manger. Hallelujah. Merry Christmas to everyone. Merry Christmas, join me and sing this song. Merry Christmas, may your wishes come true. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to you and you. Merry Christmas, may your wishes come true. Merry Christmas, join me and sing this song. Merry Christmas to everyone. Celebrating Christmas with friends and family. It's a momentous occasion, it makes you feel happy. Spreading joy and having fun. Saying Merry Christmas everyone. Merry Christmas to everyone. Merry Christmas, join me and sing this song. Merry Christmas, may your wishes come true. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to you and you. Merry Christmas, may your wishes come true. Merry Christmas, join me and sing this song. Merry Christmas to everyone.
From Little Cottage in number 3 Casada Gardens hails Rags to Rugs. 100% handmade antique and interwoven rag rugs by J. Lisa Lewis. We have various sizes of floor rugs, decorative wall hanging rugs, and table mats, uniquely and sustainably handmade. To purchase, send us a message via WhatsApp at 268-770-8088 for directions to our physical location, or we can deliver to you anywhere on Antigua absolutely free. Like and follow us on Facebook at Rags to Rugs Antigua and Made, on Instagram Rags to Rugs, or you can email us at ragstorugs@gmail.com. Don't forget, our rag rugs and table mats are machine washable and dryable. See you soon.
Elaine and Dad's Joseph Consultancy. We consult on labor relation matters, insurance, business matters, and politics. P.O. Box 2287, Francis Lane, Yorks Village, St. John's, Antigua Barbuda. Our email address, it's elaineanddadsjoseph@gmail.com. Telephone numbers 776-0200 or 464-4201. Contact us. We are here for you.
Merry Christmas, coming from the music department within the Department of Culture. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
He was born on this day for a purpose. From our sins, he came to save us. To redeem this sinful world, his very life he gave. To show mankind like him we ought to live. We must live every day just like Christmas. Learn to give every day just like Christmas. Love your neighbor as yourself. Always share with someone else. Live and love every day just like Christmas. Thank you, Jesus, who died to save us. Now sing this chorus.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. On his birth, on that Christmas morning, peace on earth, 3 wise men came singing.
Welcome back to Real Talk. Hey, right there on ZDK Liberty Radio, 97.1 FM. Time in studio, 17 minutes after the 8 p.m. hour. Dave Beef Joseph here in your company. Hey, how was your day today? I hope and trust that you had a good day. Yeah, I'm feeling good. Hey, for those who may not be feeling all that good, please say prayer. Yeah, man, say prayer, man. Prayer works each and every time. No two ways about that.
So sing this chorus. Merry Christmas.
I'll just say good night. Hey, to my good buddy, the man Plassy, down there in the Green Bay area. Stonewall Jackson. Hey, what's up, King?
Merry Christmas.
Hey, good night, Nalda.
Merry Christmas.
I hope and trust that all is going good with you. Hey, good night to your brother also. Haven't spoken to him in a while. Hey, UPP Game On.
Hello.
Hey, good night to you.
This one.
Let me also say happy birthday, hey, to those who are celebrating today. Hope and trust that the birthday is going good.
Celebrate.
And for those who celebrated within the not too distant past, a belated birthday greeting is going out to you.
Like Christmas.
And to those who will be celebrating in the not too distant future,
Just like Christmas.
hey, advanced birthday greetings going out to you. Let me just say advanced birthday greetings going out to Carolyn Reefer.
We must live.
She should be celebrating come Friday the 15th, God's willing.
Thank you, Jesus, who died to.
Advanced birthday greetings, Carolyn. Hope and trust you'll enjoy the day God spare life once it comes around.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, well, you know, today is the 9th day of December. a birthday, or would have been the birthday for the father of our nation, Sir V.C. Bird. He would have celebrated his birthday today, the 9th of December. And as you know, once the holiday falls on a weekend, it is celebrated on a Monday. So, come Monday, God's willing, that's when the matter will be. Sorry, that's when the event will be. The public holiday will be observed. Then, I thought I heard something on the radio or the TV somewhere where I'm not sure if it is the Union or if it is the Antigua Labour Party, Antigua Barbuda Labour Party. I think they're having a service tomorrow. Yes, I think they're having a service tomorrow. If I'm not mistaken, it's at the Salvation Army Church on Long Street, and I think they might be having some other events. I'm not too sure about that. But that is what should be happening tomorrow, to the best of my recollection. Also, I think I read someplace along the line that Red Hot Flames should be having some celebration from, I believe it might have been from 1 o'clock. I think I read or heard from 1 o'clock on Monday over at Jampan, that's over there by Country Pond. I'm not sure if there's going to be any other activities around, but those are what I would have heard. But yeah, today being the 9th, today would have actually been the day he would have celebrated his birthday. Was received with us. Well, you know, for me personally, V.C. Bird is the greatest leader that this country has ever seen, in my opinion. And I would dare say that we certainly need another V.C. Bird right now, as far as I'm concerned, based on how, or what I think is required in a leader to kind of get us through these trying times that we're going through, both locally, regionally, and in the international sphere. We certainly could use a V.C. Bird boy now. Like, I think I can say that reasonably to myself. I'm comfortable with that. I always come around this time, play a clip or a little recording in relation to how we came about, we being Antiguans and Barbudans, came about to be owners of our land. And that generation, the 39ers, certainly had it right. And was quite conscious of the power of our land and keeping our land. And as we would have come down through the years, some people claim that we have already almost spent or sold back all of the lands that we would have gotten them from all of the lands, sold back all of the lands to the person with whom we would have bought them from. There is certainly a debate for that. Everybody know what my position is when it comes to the land. As much or as little as we can sell off, we ought not to. We should, find ways, creative means to use that land to the benefit of our nation. But that's another thing. Again, as I said just earlier, there's a lot of things that we have to cover tonight, that I want to cover tonight. Last week I had to veer off course because of the passing of my friend Kente. Condolences again to his family. But there were some things that I wanted to touch last week that I'm going to bring back to this week. And of course, there have been some activities during the week. I believe it might have been last Monday. Two persons from within the Ministry of Finance, the financial secretary, I believe she was, Mrs. Rosona Davis, something Davis, I don't remember the name offhand, herself and a gentleman, Jermaine, my name is Jermaine Lewis, thinking about Jermaine Lewis, my friend over there, all this is Luke. Hey, good night, Jermaine. Jermaine, I don't remember his last name, but I think he might be the deputy or something like that over at Inland Revenue. They were on state media on Monday, and to my mind, I think that they gave us some critical information. To me, anyway, from what I heard. And my dad used to tell me all the time, and you would have heard me say this here. Sometimes it is not, you don't listen to what is said. Listen to what is not said. Because there's a lot in that. The technicians, based on the situation in the country, would have come together and made some proposals to the cabinet. Some I believe would be accepted, some would not be accepted. But they say at least years ago when we used to have the Calypso competition, when we had the Calypso competition, the judging system that they used, they threw out the top one and the bottom one because they would have believed that those persons, in terms of the scores, right? Those persons would have probably had an axe to grind, and then you deal with a more moderate position. I am prepared to listen to and analyze and acknowledge the advice of what I'm hearing from the technicians as opposed to the parliamentarians, because as old people say again, fisherman now say fish stink. So you don't expect in government that a certain administration is going to say that things are this and this and this when they're thinking of a re-election bid, and that is for any administration that's in government, and that's how it goes. But when you listen to the technicians and you hear what they say or what they don't say, that to me is instructive. So I'm going to be looking at that. I suspect, as I said, it might run a little late. I might not look at everything that I have, that I would have taken from the interview, but just enough to bring an understanding to the listeners here and the viewers here as to where I think the country is. As I said before, what I do when I come on radio, in my opinion, is to share the information with you, and you will do with that information whatever you wish. You know what I mean? That's a matter for you. But that's how I approach my work here on the radio, is to bring the truth, the information to the people, let the people decide with it what they want to do. Anyway, that is something we're going to be dealing with down as we go on. But without further ado, let me go with this.
VC Bird faced many other challenges during this period. Among them was the crisis which came about when Sugar Baron Moody Stewart announced his intention to sell the Antigua Sugar Factory and 80% of Antigua's lands to displaced white settlers from Kenya. VC Bird, distressed by this turn of events, immediately journeyed to London and the Colonial Office for talks on the matter.
I even asked them, what's going to happen to our people, the workers? They said they'll get domestic jobs. So all they had in store for us was to see the island cut up into these plots, bring these settlers over from Kenya, and then we would get some domestic jobs, and that should satisfy us.
Mr. Moody Stewart had also indicated that if the government wished to purchase the factory and lands, it would cost them some £6.5 million sterling, a figure which he thought would instantly defeat any consideration which Mr. Bird might give to buying the assets. But V.C. Bird is not a man to whom defeat comes easily, and outside of the talks, he discussed with the Royal Bank of Canada in England the need to borrow the same amount.
Before going to the meeting next morning, I had to pass in, because I had to know whether I was able to talk up. If you can't pay up, you can't talk up so well, you know. So therefore, I wanted to know what was going to be my position. And so I went to the manager. He said, well, I have good news for you. He said, the headquarters have replied. And they said they are prepared to lend you the £6.5 million. But you must give the factory and the estate as collateral. Well, all right, we're going to use their money. And I know we'll be able to pay it off. So we there and then agreed that we're going to take the £6.5 million and we're going to hand these over as collateral. So when we went to the Colonial Office now, we need to start up again. We don't want too much talking, so I'm going to apprise them of the position. And I said to the secretary presiding, well, sir, you know we were told that if we want to buy the factory in the States, we'd have to find $6.5 million. I'm happy to be able to report to you that we have secured the £6.5 million. And that any time Mr. Stewart is ready, he can go to the Bank of Canada and there he can collect the £6.5 million.
So once again, V.C. Bird had triumphed for Antiguans.
Yes, this is how we here, Antiguans and Barbudans, became owners of our land, you know. And all kudos goes to the leadership of Sir V.C. Bird Sr., how he led his people at the time, and he could have seen the importance of land. He could have seen that vision for generations to come. It's strange enough that how the recording started, where he said that they were going to cut up the land. The first part, let me go back to it.
V.C. Bird faced many other challenges during this period. Among them was the crisis which came about when sugar baron Moody Stewart announced his intention to sell the Antigua Sugar Factory and 80% of Antigua's lands to displaced white settlers from Kenya. V.C. Bird, distressed by this turn of events, immediately journeyed to London and the Colonial Office for talks on the matter.
All right, yes. They wanted to cut up the lands to sell to Caucasians, you know, and it's interesting when I heard that, because quite recently I've heard a discussion where it is now being said that you know, a couple of years ago, not so far in the past, all-inclusive hotels, that was a big thing and the big savior around here. Now I'm hearing that these institutions are paying marginally above the minimum wage, and I've even heard it being said recently that for the most part the employees within these establishments are immigrants. And I smiled to myself, because when I heard that, I said, I wonder where are the Antiguans and Barbudans in their country, you know what I mean, in terms of, and I'm talking about what is put in place for their protection. That's what I'm talking about. Let me be plain with what I'm saying. Yeah, you know, but we got to keep this story going, so that for those of us who are conscious and not easily fooled by some sweet sounding nothing from some people, you know, we gotta be aware of from whence we're coming, how we got what we got, and we gotta keep fighting. We gotta keep talking. We gotta keep educating the younger ones, because who knows, if it continues, maybe we might get to the stage like Zimbabwe, and then that's going to lead to a whole other different issue in terms of sanctions from the international market, etc. But you know, we just got to keep doing what we got to do. Be conscious of that. Happy birthday to the father of the nation. As I said, it will be celebrated come Monday, and again, as I said, I think there's going to be a service tomorrow. And I know Burning Flames is having something by their place come Monday. So if you see fit to make it to some one of these events that will be put on to celebrate the life of Sir V.C., I would encourage you to. And for those of you who have children and young ones around you, pass on to them the information. Try to raise their consciousness as to what is truly of importance in the land, that is their land, and the persons who are entrusted with their confidence via the electoral process to make government. They need to watch them and see what they're doing with that land, and make a decision as to how the land is being utilized, if it is the best, if it's being utilized in the best interest of themselves and for future generations or other generations to come. So I just wanted to start the night acknowledging the birthday of the greatest leader, again, in my opinion, the greatest leader, and the person who's in second place, they're not even close, in my opinion. They're not even close. The greatest leader that Antigua and Barbuda has ever seen.
This is a tribute to V.C. Bird, Premier of Antigua. Many greats have not had their crowns laid up on their heads, but I read on their tombstones when they are dead. Or because of conflicting opinions. We overlook their worthwhile contributions. This should never be so. And this one happened to Joe. I address these remarks to sincere Antiguan who has made his contribution.
For your country, I think you have played your part. You are one of the few Antigans at heart.
You have demonstrated what it is to fight and to achieve. Your object was Antigua to retrieve. Yes, we see the white colors are white and blue. I join with Antigua to give these flowers to you. I don't know all the greats who have gone before, but they were legend in your time and this I'm sure. The contacts you made for this country we are now known universally, both your friend and your foe. Accept this to be so. The respect you demand in and around this land, you're a giant of a man.
For your country, I think you have played your part. You are one of the few Antigans at heart.
You have demonstrated what it is to fight and to achieve. Your object was Antigua to retrieve. Yes, we see the white colors are white and blue. I join with Antigua to give these flowers to you. I say, sir, you're a born fighter, a born leader too. And the whole of Antigua confide in you. Your 5 years as opposition were not spent in isolation, but organizing your coup. Look what you come back and do. I hope that seed time and harvest will haunt Antigua for as long as your premier.
For your country, I think you have played your part. You are one of the few Antigans at heart.
You have demonstrated what it is to fight and to achieve. Your object was Antigua to retrieve. Yes, we see the white colors are white and blue.
I join with Antigua to give these flowers to you.
Yes, the sound of the late, great Calypso Joe. Making his contribution there to the Father of the Nation, Sir V.C. Bird Sr. That was done maybe in the 70s or 80s. I remember the exact date at the present point in time, but that's one for the books. That's one for the record book. That's one for history. Great, great, great contribution. Well, some time ago I was listening to the news, and I heard a piece. It was on ABS News, and I I listened to it, and I said, you know what? Let me share it. Let me share it with my listeners. And why I want to share it is that we have been hearing all kind of things in relation to how things are going in Antigua. From one side, you would hear that the economy is good, the economy is growing, the economy is this, the economy all good. That's from one side. And from the other side, you will hear nothing is working. Nothing is working in Antigua. And you have got to, in my mind, be able to pick sense and nonsense, as the elders would say. And one of my former managers at State Insurance, Mr. Josiah does always tell me that truth is like a cork. You know, you can step on it. You know them cork things that when you step in them, come with them. So. Well, I'll call them cork locally. You step in it, but sometimes the wave is gonna throw you off balance a bit, and the cork will pop up on top. You know what I mean? You can push it under again, but somewhere along the line, it's going to happen again, and the truth will come to the surface. You know, so we just gotta be mindful and keep watching and looking, and when it pops up, we see it. Yeah. So as I was saying, one side is saying all is well, Oh, that sound like on whatever Calypso. Yeah, I think Sparrows want to do that. All is well, and the other side is saying nothing is working, and we have got to weigh everything, sort out everything, and decide what we are deciding for the best interest of our country. And it kind of reminds me of when you serve as a juror. I don't know if how many persons out there have served as a juror. If you get the opportunity to, I would encourage you to do it. It changes your way of thinking. It changes your life. You let you look at things from a different perspective. Well, back in my days when I was at State Insurance, certain persons were I don't want to say targeted, but looked upon. So they would come to State Insurance, they would go to the different statutory bodies. But if you ever get the opportunity to serve as a juror, I would encourage you to do so. You would be the better person you would be a better person having done it, in my opinion. So when you're hearing this from that side and that from that side, you have got to look at the information, weigh the information, and make a decision. Just as I said, just as when you're in court, you're sitting there, you're listening to the prosecution put forward a case, you're listening to the defense cross-examine, you're looking at the witness and how the witness is giving his or her evidence. Look at the body language to see whether or not the body language matches with what is being said. You know, they say 80-90% of communication is non-verbal. And then at the end of the day, when you put everything together, then you make a decision. You come down with a judgment. So that's how I think, at least that's how I approach what's happening in Antigua. I listen to everything. I weigh everything. I try to remember everything. And I certainly keep recordings from everything, so that when you hear certain things, you're able to say, no, that don't know what this person said then, or that don't know what you said then, and then you get the whole picture. So I heard this, and in line of whether things are good or whether things are bad, it jumped at me. Also, for those of you who know me, I'm a labor relation consultant. That is what I do. If it's two things, I say for those persons close to me all the time, two things much people can't tell me about is insurance and labor relations. Those are the two things that I know. So even in light of being a labor relation consultant, when I heard it, it jumped at me. Well, let me share it with you so that you will hear what jumped at me, and then I'll see whether if it stirs anything in you. Remember, if you want to give a call, the number is 462-1100, 462-1100, or the WhatsApp number that you could get in touch with us at and make a contribution if you want to use that route is 464-4201. So those two numbers again, 462-1100, that gets you on air, and 464-4201, that's the WhatsApp number. So let's go now.
The Caribbean Society for Human Resource Professionals has unveiled its second annual Caribbean Salary Report, PayPulse 2023, offering unprecedented insights into the region's salary landscape. Well, according to the report, 16.7% of jobs in Antigua and Barbuda pay above market value, positioning the nation prominently in the regional employment market. Well, this country is second only to Barbados, which has 53.3% of jobs exceeding market value. On the other end of the scale, 73.3% of salaries in St. Vincent and the Grenadines falls below the average market value. The report unveiled that Jamaica's National Export-Import Bank signifies a crucial milestone in bridging the data gap within the region. With input from 117 companies across 15 countries and 26 industries, this year's survey provides a robust and comprehensive overview of the Caribbean's employment landscape. As the demand for accurate salary information continues to rise, this report's impact extends to both employers and job seekers alike.
All right, so let's go through that again, slowly.
The Caribbean Society for Human Resource Professionals has unveiled its second annual Caribbean Salary Report, PayPulse 2023, offering unprecedented insights into the region's salary landscape. Well, according to the report, 16.7% of jobs in Antigua and Barbuda pay above market value, positioning the nation prominently in the regional employment market.
All right, so let me stop there. When the information came out, I heard a lot of people talking about it on some radio stations. And of course, they were they were ecstatic to say that Antigua stood at second place in relation to minimum wage in the region, in the Caribbean region. And for those of you who don't know, that minimum wage is $9 per hour. That's how much it is in Antigua, $9 per hour. And persons wanted to say, hey, well, we're in second place. But then the information went on to say that I think it's 16.7, let's call it 17% of the jobs in Antigua is above the market value, which is above your 16%. Let me go to reverse. So 17, 3, so 83% of the jobs in Antigua, according to this report, is at minimum wage level. $9.
Caribbean Salary Report, PayPulse 2023, offering unprecedented insights into the region's salary landscape. Well, according to the report, 16.7% of jobs in Antigua and Barbuda pay above market value, positioning the nation prominently in the regional employment market. Well, this country is second only to Barbados, which has 53.3% of jobs exceeding market.
All right. So the number one country, which is Barbados, whereas we're at 16.7%. They're at 53? I think it's 53%.
Only to Barbados, which has 53.3%.
Right, so 53.3%. 53%. No. When you consider cost of living in Antigua, we all live here, so we know what it's like. And then you understand that you understand that 83% of the jobs in Antigua is at minimum wage, which is $9 per hour. Right? You begin to get an idea as to, at least I begin to get an idea as to the cries that you hear from people. And it takes many different forms. You would have heard people talk about not being able to even qualify for a loan, for a mortgage at the bank, even if you work in jobs that we believe, or we would say, are quote-unquote good jobs. As a matter of fact, just today I heard a discussion similar to that on the radio. And I haven't heard the unions, at least I haven't heard them speaking to this information that is out there. And I want people to understand, how do you dig yourself out of the hole that is to improve your life when more than 75% of the population is working for minimum wage? What do you do? How does that happen? What happens? How do you do that? And then you hear on the radio about persons talking about people getting into entrepreneurship, etc. All I'm saying, this is information. Again, I thought that it was important and I wanted to come and share it. But I am sure that persons who are into labor relations like me, and unions, and government, and the opposition, I'm sure that they have an appreciation for this information in the context of what is happening in Antigua and Barbuda. 83% of the jobs are at market value level. And I have to say at, because if any of those are below, then those persons have a claim that they can bring before the Labor Department, because the law sets the minimum, which is what the minimum wage is. $9 an hour. But I felt it was important to share, and sometimes these things people hear and they don't even know what they're hearing. People hear but they don't know what they're hearing. But just imagine that 83%, what I said, right? Yes, 83% of the jobs in Antigua is at minimum wage. And well, if you're following that discussion with the minimum wage, I think it went up. I think it might have been the first round about the 1st of January, if I'm not mistaken. And you would have heard this struggle. You would have heard the struggle to get it to move from $8.20 to $9. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think the unions had compromised the figure. They came down to that it ought to be about, I think, $10 or $10.50, where the employers wanted it to remain the same or at a slightly higher figure than $8.20, and eventually the government came down, in my opinion, more on the side of the employers and came up with $9 an hour. So if you're following what's happening in relation to that, you would understand that I don't think that a reasonable person in this country can tell anybody that $9 an hour for a maximum of a 8-hour day can suffice based on what the cost of living is in Antigua. I don't think so. I don't think a reasonable person can say that. But there it is. That was in the news, ABS News, on the 26th of November. For those who might want to go back and get their own recording and analyze it, that is it there. Moving on.
Now, I woke up this morning to the news that the Ministry of Health, and this is, I would say, very closely affiliated to what I mentioned earlier. The Ministry of Health is holding a press conference this morning, and the minister is the one who will be in the hot seat. And I hope and pray that this fake dashboard is not the pretext on which the Minister of Health is going to come to this nation after months of being in hibernation, missing in action. The healthcare system in this country is in shambles. And Sir Malwin Joseph, the Minister of Health, Environment and Wellness, owes this nation an explanation as to why so many things are amiss in his ministry. I flagged the matter of the one operating theater 2 weeks ago. 2 of the theaters are out of commission due to water and mold, and therefore only one operating room is functional and only for emergencies. So all elective surgeries are put on hold. Something has to be done about this, and something must be said today on that press conference about this. Something must be done about the long wait times in the emergency room. There has to be a system, Sir Malwin, a better way of handling emergencies. Because as one friend said to me last week, if you don't come by ambulance to the ER, you better throw yourself down, froth at the mouth, contort your body, because nobody is taking you on. Sir Malwin has to explain to this nation what he is doing to improve efficiency and more customer-friendly care in the emergency room. It is unacceptable for a sick person to wait from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to be seen by a doctor when there is an emergency. In his press conference, Sir Malwin needs to explain to this nation why there is no working MRI machine in the hospital. Y'all didn't know that? There's no working MRI machine on the island because the one in the private clinic at Belmont, that too is not working. Why are patients being asked to travel to Barbados, to Trinidad, or elsewhere for MRI imaging services? Who can afford that, especially if the person is sick and incapacitated? It needs airfare, accommodation if you have to overnight, because you're definitely going to have to overnight if it's Trinidad, Barbados, or Jamaica. You probably need to have someone to accompany you, so multiply that by 2. Sir Malwin also owes this nation an explanation in his press conference this morning as to why the Eastern Caribbean Cancer Center is still shuttered, when he promised this nation to have it reopened by April. Did you mean April 2024, sir? And please assure us that the Chief of Staff got it all wrong when he stated that the AG's office may have to change the locks on the building. Surely, you, Sir Malwin, you know exactly where to find the keys for the cancer center. You may want to explain to this nation why the hospital director, Dr. Albert Duncan, whom taxpayers are paying rather handsomely and generously, why he is more absent than present from the hospital. You also may want to tell us why Dr. Terrian Joseph was overlooked for the position of CMO after acting so professionally, compassionately, and competently for months since the departure of Dr. Rhonda Seeley Thomas. And please, sir, don't come telling us any bunkum about you not being directly involved in hiring and firing matters, and that it's the Public Service Board, because we know that you are intimately involved. What about the horrid conditions at Clearview Psychiatric Hospital, in which a patient died without explanation suddenly? What about the horrible conditions at Fines Institute, sir? And perhaps in your 10 o'clock press conference, you can tell us why the board of the medical benefit scheme has not been constituted yet. We're in January. We're in November. The election was held in January 18th. You also need to explain what is going on at National Solid Waste Management Authority with regard payment to contractors and the attendant collection of garbage. And while you're at it, sir, give us an update on the dengue situation in Antigua-Barbuda. Yeah. And perhaps in this morning's press conference, which is scheduled to start at 10 o'clock, you may want to justify why, with all the obvious failures in your ministerial portfolio, why the Prime Minister should not fire you for lack of performance. Because, the Prime Minister is on that track. He wants to see public servants perform. So you need to justify to him your underperformance. So you have there a bevy of reasons for having this press conference. Let's just hope and pray that this press conference is not just about the fake news, because the press release has cleared that up, sir. You have many, many weighty, substantial matters to deal with other than fake news.
Oh, yes, that was Jackie Quinn back on the 28th, I believe. Yes, the 28th of November, when the minister called a press conference. To address, at the time it was being circulated in the media and on social media, of the death of a young lady at Clearview. Let me just say condolences to the young lady's family. The most that I can say came out of I don't think these concerns that Jackie Quinn raised was raised or spoken to by the minister. The situation at Mount St. John in terms of the hospital room. I think I read something from the cabinet post or the post cabinet press briefing that the theater room should be in place and running by I think it was by Christmas, if I'm not mistaken. I think I read that. The other issues as to solid waste and etc. No, those issues they weren't dealt with. Pertinent issues, in my opinion, were raised there by Jackie Quinn. I don't agree with her at the end where she says that the minister should seek to find reason, and I'm paraphrasing it now, as to why the Prime Minister should not fire him from his job. I don't think that's for the minister, that's for the Prime Minister. He's the one who issues and places the different persons in the different ministries. So I guess if you don't see no action, it means that the performance, in the opinion of the Prime Minister, is up to par. That's the most that I could say with that. But as I said, I'm not going to get into the interview that Mr. Joseph did. But as we all know, well, at least for those of us who follow these things We knew that there was some fixation between him. He seems to be quite taken up with Nikki. As a matter of fact, the highlight of that press conference might very well have been when Nikki asked him when last he went to Clearview, and he said he went to Clearview when the workers and them were not there. Something to that effect. You know what I mean? I don't know. It is what it is. Again, it is for people to look at what is happening and decide for themselves. I'm just looking here at somebody who's Jonathan Dadley and Beef. If him say you know much to Colin, the pancake, Colin. PM said the Prime Minister finally admitted he can't collect the taxes because he's afraid the business people. I have to go clean my ears because I wasn't sure the Prime Minister was talking about. One day if you hear about that somebody called his name, the people in Rumshop was calling you stew beef tonight. Stew beef, okay. Alright, well, Christmas time, we can't take on things in Christmas. I'm sure I see how people are far long dead now. So, me certainly not take on nothing and not far long dead. We can enjoy the time that the Lord have me here. So, if I expect me to get caught up in that, no. But let me just say, you know what? Maybe I should go back and listen for myself and hear. And then go from there. But chances are that I'm not going to be taking on that. Life's too short right now. I read a thing. I listened to a thing on somebody sent it to me on WhatsApp. I must remember to play it later. If I forget, somebody on WhatsApp call me and remind me that I have to play this thing. The lady was saying, the journey's too short, so me not take on them things here. Anyway, back on schedule now. Yes, well, that was Jackie Quinn prior to the press conference that the minister had on the 28th, and this was Jackie Quinn the following day, the 29th.
Only one word can be used to describe yesterday's press conference: disaster. What a disastrous press conference. Sir Malwyn Joseph, Minister of Health, Environment, Social Transformation, should be sacked forthwith. Let me repeat that. Sir Malwyn Joseph, the Minister of Health, Environment and Social Transformation, should be sacked forthwith. Or after that press conference, he should just tender his resignation, go home and enjoy his retirement. Here is a minister whose entire ministry, from top to bottom, is in shambles, giving the most atrocious healthcare service in the entire Caribbean region. And he hosts a press conference in which he knows nothing, can provide no clarity. He is belligerent, rude, and arrogant. And when he's confronted with probing, incisive questions, he says he has to check the veracity of their statements or allegations. Then he turns and, like a rabid dog, because he's unable to answer intelligently, he questions the reporter's ability to understand. So he repeats some inane piece of information which he has drawn from the coroner's inquest legislation, Cap 105, which we all know, Sir Malwyn. We did not need you to dust off that bit of legislation and read it to us. We know it. Besides, those who don't know it could Google it. And I have to give kudos to the two journalists who questioned the minister. Our very own news editor, Gemma Handy, and Nikki Phoenix of Free Press 268. They were fearless, they were bold, they stood their grounds in the face of the minister's evasiveness, his rather vacuous responses, and his dissembling ramblings. Bravo, Gemma and Nikki. Bravo. It was a great and very symbolic day for investigative journalism and for the Fourth Estate in Antigua and Barbuda. And it was instructive to note that the reporter from State Media, ABS, did not ask a single question. listeners and viewers, absolutely nothing new has come out of that press conference except to show up the incompetence, the lack of preparation, the out-of-touchness of Honorable Sir Malwin Joseph. And he took umbrage when Nikki was asking a question when she said, you've been knighted, sir, for this. You've been knighted. He said Nikki was taking it personal. How is that personal? A knighthood is one of the highest national honors that this country bestows on deserving citizens. How is that personal? How is that personal? He was fuming when the reporters made reference to a report written by Dr. James King and actually said out loud that his main concern was how the media got the report and that he had not seen it yet. So why hold a press conference, sir? Why? This is the very subject matter that you're going to be dealing with. Why have you not read the report? Even if you got the report 2 minutes before coming on the air, you delay the press conference and at least read it so that you can be well apprised of its contents and so that you could answer questions intelligently. And if I was grading his performance, he would get a U for ungraded, which is well below F. Sir, and if the Prime Minister of this country was watching your performance, and I'm pretty sure he let you have it. I'm pretty sure he watched it. And I'm pretty sure he let you have it yesterday. I have never seen anything so bizarre, so pathetic, and so shockingly inept coming from a minister of government. And not once did the minister apologize on behalf of the ministry to the family, offer condolences, express sorrow for their loss. It was all about him. At one point, when he was unable to withstand the insightfulness of Nikki Phoenix, he got so emotional. He started tearing up and saying, oh, this is family. Something that he never mentioned. All the bravado at the start of the press conference. He never mentioned that. But he was trying to engender some sympathy, I suppose. All of the responses of this minister were simply dodging, trying to outmaneuver, trying to put down the journalists, who of course would not be, and who were throughout very respectful, very professional throughout the press conference. And in my bewilderment at this dreadful performance yesterday, I simply asked, why? Why did you call a press conference? Why? And maybe today you're asking yourself, why? To what end? Why did you call a press conference yesterday?
Yes, that was Jackie Quinn the day after the press conference. And reasonably, speaking reasonably, I think that she expressed the sentiments that a good portion of the society was thinking and was speaking among themselves about what was the purpose of the press conference. What was the purpose of the press conference? Since then, I think the minister left shortly after to go to COP28 or whatever it is over in Saudi Arabia or Qatar, wherever it is. And I don't think he's back as yet. I think somebody told me he will be out of state for a while still. So he's not back as yet. I read that the parts of the post office and the part of the Ministry of Agriculture is supposed to be occupying portions of, I believe, of the structure on Nugent Avenue. That should have been like a second mini hospital. I don't know if they're going to retrofit the place, yes or no. But I'm sure that when the minister returns, he will advise the public as to how that is going. Just to let us, just to share the information. Just to share the information with us. But I wanted to, I felt that those two contributions there from Jackie Quinn was quite applicable. I think they were, and I wanted to isolate them and share them with the listeners. I don't agree with everything that Jackie Quinn says. I certainly don't. But I think that she, especially that segment where she calls or she refers to as what issue she's flagging. I think that it's a worthwhile segment to listen to, because around here, as far as journalism is concerned, in my opinion anyway, and that's why I rate Nikki so much. Nikki writes down and she makes sure that she have her questions. She's prepared going to these different press conferences. I know that for a fact. I could hear it in her questioning, and she don't, because she writes down, she don't forget. Journalists around here, or the people who are into the news thing around here, they don't come back at you a month after, say, hey, you told us a month ago that this should have been done by the 28th. Today's the 30th. What's the latest on that? You don't get that much at all. I see Nikki is along the line, and I rate her for that. And Jackie Quinn seems to be like that in terms of keeping tabs, keeping note of things, and following up. And unfortunately, in my opinion, when this follow-up is being done with certain public officials, they get a little hotter under the collar. You know what I mean? They get a little hotter under the collar. I don't know if they expect people to just not ask them about what they're supposed to be doing about their work. Of course, within recent weeks, recent month, maybe a month, a little bit longer than a month, Ezra Martin, Saul, was made the poster child in terms of, if you know their work, quote unquote, that's by certain persons' estimation. If you're not doing the work, you have to go. And that has gotten people up and looking, and people are saying, well, look, why is that limited to civil servants? Why doesn't that include ministers who are not performing? How come they cannot perform but they still have a job? Yeah, that's good thing for me. Here's another thing here that I found to be interesting.
National Security Minister Sir Sedroy Benjamin says the government will continue to expend funds towards retrofitting the existing prison facilities. He told Observer, despite years of assurances, the government simply does not have the necessary funds to build a new prison facility at this time.
We will retrofit the present prison until such time as we are in the financial position to build a new one. Things have gone up quite a bit. Shipping, the war in Ukraine, and other things like that. So by now the figure would have changed significantly. But it's like amount, I'm not aware.
The retrofitting is meant to ease concerns of overcrowding and outdated facilities that have had negative health impacts on inmates. Less than a year ago, at least 164 inmates at His Majesty's Prison signed a petition citing their lack of access to basic necessities like healthy food, drinkable water, clean living conditions without the presence of pests, and modern and functional bathroom facilities. They also spoke out on the lack of proper medical care and the treatment they receive from medical staff, as well as from the superintendent and other workers at the prison.
All right, so that there was coming from that sound like the lady from Observer, where, as you would have heard, the Minister of the Attorney General, Minister of Public Safety, I think that's one of his ministries, indicating that the prison will be retrofitted and not a new prison being built because of cost and some other things that he said. You know what I mean? We would have heard and followed the different protests, not only for the inmates, but I remembered, I think it might have been leading up to the election. Yeah, it wasn't the by-elections, it might have been the general election. There was a protest outside with the security guards. Not the security guards, sorry, the officers, prison officers. There was one lady there that I think she might have been on sick leave. I'm impressed with that lady. She had no fear. She wanted to speak her piece, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. But having heard what the minister said, that would have been on the 28th, the following day, coming out of Jackie Quinn's program.
I just want to say,
How can the Honorable Attorney General telling us building a new prison have something to do with the Ukraine war? What really has something to do with the Ukraine war is for you to take over the people in their boat. And then the next thing, development in Antigua, they're not lying, they're right, but it's not equity. Because over in Barbuda, the houses that they're building, the smallest one costs $12 million. So, on upward, and they're selling them. So somebody there, they're making the money, the country making money, but it's not no equity. What happens is what's happening to us. We are making money, we are rich, but somebody ciphering on the money. Government run the government like if it's their own thing.
Yes.
How can the Prime Minister telling us all those kind of things? What is he thinking about? I'm putting him to answer me, Mr. Prime Minister. Are you developing the country with equity, or are you just developing the country to pocket the money for you and all your friends in them?
Right, so that came off the program the following day, and you would have heard the gentleman in the initial part of the recording, where he was challenging the AG in relation to what does the Ukraine war and them kind of stuff have to do with the prison, when the whole discussion in relation to a new prison preceded the nuclear war, the war up in Ukraine, etc. And I found that I was glad to hear that persons are following and not just gobbling down what persons are saying to us, or some persons saying to us, believing that we're not following and connecting the dots as we go along. I felt that was important. But let us watch and see. Let us watch and see what happens as we get down into this section, where we deal with number 2. As we get down into the section where we deal with what the officials were saying on ABS television last Monday night. As we get down to that section in this show, I think it will answer a lot of the questions, or some of the questions at least, that we're hearing persons asking as to why certain things are not happening, why certain things on the capital side is not happening. The throne speech was today's Saturday, Thursday? Wednesday, Thursday? I think it might have been Thursday. And somebody called me. Well, I didn't listen to it. I didn't think that I needed to. I could have gotten something else done. And later in the afternoon, somebody called me and asked me whether I listened. I said no. And they told me, well, I didn't miss anything. And then somebody else called me a little shortly after that conversation and told me the same thing. I didn't really miss anything, I think I have a recording to play in relation to that, as a follow-up to what persons were thinking of the throne speech. But I didn't listen to for myself again, as I said. I suspected he would have been speaking about a lot of things that I would have heard already. So that was that. And I didn't really hear much of clippings coming out from the budget, from the throne speech in the news. So for whatever that is worth, and talking about the officials from the ministry who came out, and we're going to eventually get to the 2% increase on the ABSD that was proposed by the technicians and seemingly was accepted by the government, or is being accepted by the government. Again, as I said, we'll touch on that a little later. Just instructive to say and to note that it's not all of the recommendations that the technicians have made that the government have accepted. I was quite surprised. Should I say surprised? Yes. I was quite surprised to hear when the lady indicated that they suggested to the government that they reintroduce personal income tax. I said, huh? I said, okay. That must say something as to the state of the country or something. And as I said, I listen to the politicians on both sides and hear what they say, and I treat those accordingly from both sides. But when you listen to the technicians, what they're doing the work, etc., you know what I mean? When you hear certain things, you got to take notice. And of course, we know that the Labour Party is fundamentally opposed to personal income tax. I can understand. That's the ideology, and that's the point I was making the other week, not last week before, when I was saying the UPP seemingly prefers the direct taxes, getting the money at source, income tax, etc., whereas the ALP seems to favor the indirect taxes, where persons have their money and what the purchases would drive that with indirect taxes. But it certainly appears to me that we're at a stage now where the Labour Party definitely is moving away, in my opinion, somewhat from the indirect taxes to the direct taxes, hence the 2%. But as we get down the line, we will hear why the 2% is necessary. And I just found that the FS, Finance Secretary, yes, I found that she gave us some information that if your eyes don't open up when you hear certain things, you're wrong someplace. Let me just touch on this one here now.
On another note now, Donna spoke this evening about property taxes and, the possibility of the government, raising property taxes in some instances, in some sectors, and, collecting taxes and penalizing people for not paying taxes. I am telling the Prime Minister on this show tonight, before he looks at ever raising any tax in Antigua, look at your collection system, Prime Minister, for every government tax that's charged in this country. If you can get your collection system, Prime Minister, on point, you'll have no problem with finance. Not calling you out on the radio, just telling you.
Well, we can have a private conversation. That I can tell you that.
I'm just saying, you have to look first, at your collection.
Let me give an example. I mean, one of our major taxes is the taxes at the port on imported goods. I don't know how you stop that manipulation.
Well, I won't tell you on the radio how to do it, but I can tell you.
I don't know, because that one there...
Yeah, there are certain businesses in this country that you can piggyback on. Use them as an example, not right, of what kind of duties they pay in a year. And you will realize quickly how many companies in Antigua and businesses are not paying the correct duties. Very simple. If you have a container, I'm just saying...
You know that we changed our security system, a more efficient system. We also have an audit team down there to back check the invoices after they're processed to see whether or not there are any discrepancies. And that has not made a difference. Now that we haven't tried. Yeah, so there seems to be...
The tax collection system needs to be...
My dear brother, when you have collusion within the system, I don't want to necessarily go there. It's a very, very difficult issue to manage and to increase the yield.
You know as well as I PM that if you... I'm just saying tomorrow...
Let me ask you, why you think some of those businesses, as you said, are paying less than the fair share of taxes? You think they do it on their own?
I'm not saying so. I'm not saying that. I know they're not doing it on their own.
It's a complex issue. It is a cultural issue. It is an entrenched issue. And I want to tell you...
Because if you raise taxes...
It's not easy to
eradicate. People who pay the taxes now can pay more.
Yeah. And I'm not shirking my responsibility here as Minister of Finance. First of all, we're not there, we're not on site. When the container comes in and it's already cleared, we're going to prove. By then, they don't sell the goods. It's a difficult proposition.
But when you say you have an audit team that back check the invoices.
If Lamin brings...
I'm not going to say nothing at this point. I don't want to upset the applicant.
If Lamin brings in a container of, I'm just using an example, clothing, and he pays consistently between $150,000 to $200,000 in duties on that container. Consistently. Every time he brings in one, the duties are between $150,000 and $200,000. I mean, all tax duties, TRRC, ABSD, etc. And you have Philip Shows, Colin O'Neill, or Donna Shire bringing in similar goods, very similar goods, probably even for the same person, but he paying 40,000 consistent. Something is wrong.
Something is wrong.
But no. You have looked at this issue in a very simplistic way.
I am.
What about if a container comes in with mixed goods, which is invariably the case, and they have the cheap ones at the front of the container and the expensive one that carry the high duties at the back, and you have a situation where there's a collusion? How you manage that?
That's a good question.
And then what you'll find that indeed, I can understand you can probably do some spot checks occasionally, and even that in itself, I mean, even if you do it occasionally and you catch them, it doesn't stop them from continuing.
Yeah, I just got a message from somebody said you probably need to introduce a rotation system amongst the officers.
Well,
can be tried.
You see, the problem is, I mean, to me,
that one they have here.
System, right? System. And that's what I'm saying, the Prime Minister. Look at your collection system in every department of taxes in Antigua.
But let me ask you, I mean, so taxpayers don't have the responsibility to pay the fair share of taxes?
But I agree, but the taxpayers who...
That's what I tell you, it's a cultural problem, you understand? And it is entrenched to the extent that everybody just turn a blind eye. They see nothing, they hear nothing. So it's not as easy as you may think to resolve.
All right. The one that catch me, I just wanted to play back that because as the budget debate will be what, Thursday, Friday next week, the 15th. That would probably be Friday. So we will hear. What's the plan? Let me put that. We will hear. What's the plan? All right. The time in studio now is 25 minutes after 9 p.m. Let me take my first break, get something to drink, and then when we get back, the boogie continues. Stay tuned.
Can you hear the singing of the children? Their voices ring as clear as the silver bells. Joyous anticipation of that morning. It's Christmas in their eyes again. Then you begin to see the star shining through each and every heart. Then you will know and you will say, soon it will be Christmas Day. People giving best wishes for the season, hoping that each Christmas dream comes true. Lovers under the mistletoe are just teasing. It's Christmas in their eyes again. Then you begin to see the star shining through each and every heart. Then you will know and you will say, soon it will be Christmas Day.
Elaine and Dad Joseph Consultancy. We consult on labor relation matters, insurance, business matters, and politics. P.O. Box 2287, Francis Lane, Yorks Village, St. John's, Antigua Barbuda. Our email address, it's Elaine and the Dad's Joseph at gmail.com. Telephone numbers 776-0200 or 464-4201. Contact us. We are here for you.
From a little cottage in number 3 Casada Gardens hails Rags to Rugs. 100% handmade Antiguan interwoven rag rugs by J. Lissa Lewis. We have various sizes of floor rugs, decorative wall hanging rugs, and table mats, uniquely and sustainably handmade. To purchase, send us a message via WhatsApp at 268-770-8088 for directions to our physical location, or we can deliver to you anywhere on Antigua absolutely free. Like and follow us on Facebook at Rags to Rugs Antiguan Made, on Instagram Rags to Rugs, or you can email us at ragstorugs@gmail.com. Don't forget, our rag rugs and table mats are machine washable and dryable. See you soon.
Studios located in the capital city of St. John's, Antigua in the Caribbean Sea.
Okay, stop that!
And our transmitter located at the highest point, Bodie Peak in the parish of St. Mary. This is ZDK Liberty Radio International 97.1 FM, the People's Radio Station.
Singing thanks and praise to the Most High, it's Christmas. Time to celebrate, here's the reason why it's Christmas. I could have hardly sleep all night, I peeped to catch Santa Claus under the tree. Give thanks and praise to the Most High, it's Christmas. I could have hardly wait for the blessed day, it's Christmas. I wake up in a flurry and I get up in a hurry, it's Christmas. I run downstairs before I say my prayers, but when I reached the tree I couldn't fight the tears, cause nothing taller than there for me this Christmas. I was so distraught, all I get is not this Christmas. I had me list, not a thing I missed this Christmas. No, I didn't lie, oh yeah, no I didn't cheat. Always eat me fungi and brush my teeth. Still nothing taller than there for me this Christmas. But then I see Santa coming down the road, yes. He have a big fat belly and a donkey with a load, yes. I run so fast I nearly kill the ox. He watched me like a crazy but I had to ask, Santa, how come you do me that this Christmas? He didn't look so jolly when he heaved a sigh this Christmas. He said, Sonny boy, I apologize this Christmas.
Yes, welcome back to Real Talk.
Try my best.
Hey, right here on ZDK Liberty Radio 97.1 FM. Time now in studio. 9:31 p.m.
But Antigua hot like fire and me reindeer tired this Christmas. Me slave mash up in a bottle on our Saints Road this Christmas, Lord.
Yes, 9:31 p.m. Dave Beef Josephine in your company.
This I couldn't get it back.
Coming back to the sounds of Alice. Nothing for Christmas.
I must confess that I was quite distressed this Christmas. I was feeling really sorry when I hear the story this Christmas. You tell me you are just a little boy and while you might not get a toy, you got a reason to be happy for your mommy and your daddy, even if nothing tall on the there for you this Christmas. And then I hear Santa, ho, 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 ho. He says, Sonny, don't you worry cause I got something for you. I got a hand of green banana and a bag of yam, a dozen sweet potatoes straight from the land. Be thankful little boy that you have something you could yam for Christmas. And then I see Santa going down the road, oh yes. He have a pickaxe on his shoulder and a donkey with a load, oh no. His face was black like sin, so the man could grin. I tell him thank you Santa Claus for your Christmas gift. I think my belly would agree, I don't need nothing from the tree for Christmas.
doing so many things at the same time. Looking there, I don't have a Christmas tune for Japonkin, so I can't play that. I don't know if they have it here in the system, but I'm not playing from the system, the radio station library. I'm playing from my library, and I don't have that one for Japonkin, a Christmas song for Japonkin. Sorry about that. If I happen to get it, I'm not sure if I'm going to be working next week. I'll have to touch base with management to see what plans they have, how the scheduling going. But if I get it, and sure. If you notice tonight, I'm playing all national contribution to the Christmas season. Started off with Willie Wawa. Willie Wawa put out one this year. Nice tune, nice little tune, there. Where we going to move to next now? Where we coming from? We're coming from, okay, that's Mr. Showell advice. And we're going to be getting into that. We're going to be getting into that later. As you can see, everything is about finances leading up to the budget debate. Well, if the budget statement is going to be next week, Friday, probably the week. I think they normally give a week between. I'm not sure if they're still on that. I'm not sure if anybody would know when the debate starts, but if you do, you could give me a call, 462-1100, or send me a WhatsApp on 464-4201. I'm not sure what time the debate is going to start, because if it's going to be, let me see, next week Friday is going to be the 15th. Next week Friday is going to be the 15th, and then you have 1 week between from that to Christmas. Christmas is going to come on a Monday, so I'm not sure if the debate starts after the Christmas holiday. I'm not too sure. But if anybody out there have that information, they can just help me out with that. Where am I going to next? I'm going to go here.
We are going to sign off on an MOU next week with maybe two private suppliers. One to provide water for us as a service, and the other will do the same thing, but on a boot arrangement. So we are going to increase the capacity of some of our plants, Colin. And these will be the three plants. The one at Fry's will be increased. The one at Barnacle Point will also be increased by 2 million gallons. And Fort James will have to increase that.
Oh, what happened to this one? Done already? This was Melford on the 18th of November. Let's go again.
We are going to sign off on an MOU next week with maybe two private suppliers. One to provide water for us as a service, and the other will do the same thing, but on a boot arrangement. So we are going to increase the capacity of some of our plants, Colin. And these will be the three plants. The one at Fry's will be increased. The one at Barnacle Point will also be increased by 2 million gallons. And Fort James will have to increase that.
All right. Now, just to go back to what I said earlier, in terms of the journalists in this country and how they follow up things, you would have heard the minister said there that was on the 18th. I said, let's go. Yes, the 18th. Barnacle Point, Fry's, and Fort. You're going to be signing off on the memorandum of understanding, or memorandum of agreement. Let me try and go to the cabinet notes from this week, because I talk to my people and them as to what's happening in the whole water situation, because they say trust but verify. Still want to verify some things for yourself. So that was what Melford said on the 18th. I'm just trying to pick up the cabinet notes from, I think it might have been put out yesterday. Was that the day before yesterday? And again, when I would have heard the discussion, I would have spoken to my people, and they gave me a breakdown as to what should have been happening. But today's date is the 9th. So yesterday would have been the 7th, right? All right. So the cabinet notes came out on the 7th, and Melford made a statement on the 18th. So that's about 2 weeks between, roughly. Cabinet notes. There's something in the cabinet notes, and number 1, I believe it might have been. Yes, number 1. Number 1 of the cabinet notes. For those of you who might want to follow, it's on. I think it's the 3rd page now for the Antigua newsroom. Is it the 3rd page? It's dated the 8th, and it says the cabinet attention was focused upon the issue of potable water production and achieving a 12 million gallon per day objective. The AP Water Division has set that goal in order to fulfill its obligations to all customers. Well, I'm not in cabinet, so I can't speak for what is said in cabinet, but from what I hear outside, I don't hear about that. I don't hear nothing about a 12 million gallon per day. Anyway, the 6 reverse osmosis plants in Antigua will be supplemented by 2 plants. There's not 3 now, right? 2. 2 plants producing 1 million gallons each at Barnacle Point and at Fry's. So Fort is not there now. The Minister of Public Works repeated that that demand will be met fully before the end of the first quarter of 2024 or by March 31st, 2024. Right? 3 new hotel projects, many new homes, and other new businesses will cause demand for more water to rise. The APUA and Cabinet was assured, I guess that should have been all will be able to expand its supply to meet demand. But I'm just reading what it says. The APUA, the Cabinet was assured, will be able to expand its supply to meet all demand. All right. So, again, as I would normally do, I ask some questions of some people, and I'm told that where it says, where is it? A million, something about a million. Both plants producing 1 million gallons each at Barnacle Point and at Fry's. Okay, let me speak for myself. Let me not speak for nobody. When I read that, I get the impression that it is saying that at Barnacle Point and at Fry's, something is going to be 2 plants are going to be put in that's going to be producing 1 million gallons each, right? So that's going to be 2 million gallons. Well, I'm told that I believe it will be that this one is going to be at Barnacle Point. I'm told that remember the minister spoke about one person providing a service and one with a boot arrangement. I'm told that the person, the company, whatever it is that is providing the service, that they are supplying in the region of 300,000 presently, and they're to scale up to 1 million, which is going to be actually an additional 700,000. If it's 300,000 that they're doing, or if it's 400,000, then it's going to be scaled up by 600,000. But it's going to come to 1 million. The total will now come to 1 million. So it's not an additional million. And the one down at Fry's, yes, from what I was able to confirm that. And as I said, whereas you would have heard the minister spoke on the 18th to something at Fort James, it is not in the cabinet notes, the last cabinet notes. I also saw another part in the notes that where is it held that 2 million constructed not funding. There was another part in the notes having to do with the APU and the water thing. But okay, I'm not seeing it now. I should have marked it when I was going through. I'm not seeing it now. But let me just share some information with you, my listeners, in relation to what is happening with this whole water situation and the expansion. As I said, I see they're talking about the demand for 10 point something million a day. Well, from the people who I speak to, that seems to be a mystery. From the people I speak to, and of course you're not gonna know whom to talk to. For all of those out there who's wondering who you talk to, you're not gonna know, because I'm not gonna say. But let me just go to some figures, some things. The APUA. Okay, now, so let's look at it in two different scenarios. One before the new arrangements here, which, as was said someplace along there, should be coming up by the latest the end of the first quarter in 2024. So let's look at what obtains before that and what obtains if that is completed in time. I'm just trying to remember where I heard it being said that a plant should be put in Bethesda area that should be producing 3 million gallons a day. I saw that someplace. Oh yeah, look right there. A reverse osmosis plant to be built in Bethesda in 2024 will produce 3.5 million gallons daily, right? I don't know if you remember, you all may remember me saying that there was a plant that was some $40 million away from coming into service. That's how I put it. $40 million away from coming into service. It's the same plant they're talking about. And it's because that plant is not being able to get up to scratch quickly, why they would have had to go into negotiations with you hear this company coming out of Trinidad or the States, wherever it is, to get the water. Because from what I have been told, money is the issue in terms of completing that Bethesda plant. But the way how it is said in the notes, a reverse osmosis plant will be built in Bethesda in 2024. Let's keep that in mind, what he said. And if the Lord should spare our lives through 2024, let's see what happens to that plant and how soon it gets up. Alright, now, as I was saying, looking at how the thing works before and after, I'm told that of the 6 reverse osmosis plants, I think I said this before, they have the capacity to produce 8.5 million gallons per day. But based on how they're used, they're not used at maximum capacity. So they actually produce in the region of 7.2 million gallons per day. And that is before you take into consideration the 30% leakage. When you put in the 30% leakage in it, actually the figure drops from 7.2 to 1, 2, 3, to call it 5 million gallons a day. 5 million gallons a day. And I'm told that the daily demand for the country is in the region of $9 million. $9 million. Sorry, not dollars. 9 million gallons per day. So that would put us short by roughly 3.9 million gallons a day. I'm told that between Delaps and Bendels, the Bendels water treatment, you might be looking at about another 1 million to 1.5 million gallons a day. So then you would reduce the 3.9 by that. So we're short by roughly 2 million gallons a day, as it is now. Enter the arrangement that was entered into. And to those figures, as I said, I was told that one plant is going to be scaling up to 1 million, so that's 700,000 addition. Fries would have been 1 million, and the Ivan Rodriguez, the boot project with Ivan Rodriguez would have been 2 million, but no, I have to take out the 2 million there. I have to take out that 2 million there. So that is now going to come down to 1.7 million gallons to be added to the 7.2 before the leakage. When the leakage comes in, if you still have it at 30%, it is actually 8.9 million gallons. 8.9 million gallons before the leakage. No, after leakage. Sorry. So let me not confuse you. It's going to be 7.2 million plus 1.7 million, which brings it to 8.9 million gallons per day. And then apply the 30% leakage to that. So you're down to 6.2 million gallons after when you factor in the leakage. So you're actually losing 2.6 million gallons daily in relation to the leakage. From what is being produced, then you take with the 30%, you're actually losing 2.6 million gallons daily. Well, you would see from the figures that the repiping, the repiping is something that needs to be dealt with, because somebody or somebodies are going to have to pay for that 2.6 million gallons that leaks every day. Let's wait and watch and see if it is reflected in our bills, because this is why I was saying the other day, persons, when you go home, when you wake up, you turn your tap, there's water there. Persons would want you to believe that the water problem is solved, right? Because you're getting water. They don't have the discussion as to who's going to be paying, or how is the cost going to be covered for the 2.6 million gallons that you're going to be losing. But you keep that in your head. You keep that in your head as we go forward. You keep that in your head as we go forward. And based on what I'm seeing, unless and until the Bethesda plant, which is going to be ought to be given 3 million gallons per day. I read in an article somebody said 3.5 million gallons per day. But again, I'll go with who I speak with, the persons that I speak with. I will go with what they say. Until that 3 million gallon gets into the system, I don't know that we're going to have enough production to cover comfortably what I hear them talking about. If they're going to say they're going to go to 10 million gallons, 10 point whatever million gallons per day, I don't see it. So that is how that is. Let's wait and see. Again, as I would have come here weeks and weeks ago and say, I think that the people at APUA, the management I'm referring to, were given a little bit of a raw deal, but all of them are friends. So sometimes these things happen. You take one for the team. Some people say that take one for the team, so they took one for the team. But from what I would have known, and you would have heard it just quite recently, Minister Melvin Nicholas indicated that this loan that they've been talking about from ACB, or this conglomerate of banks, for so long, it seems to be going someplace. Now. And you would have heard persons indicate that because basically it was APF funds that was being used over the years to get to where they were getting, because those monies that they were looking to from the banks did not come through. And so when I knew that when you were hearing about people that turn off valve and all them kind of, I knew that was crap. I knew that was crap from the conversations I was having. I knew that. I'm told that the new manager is confident that he will be able to get the resources. So let us wait and watch and see if that does happen. Let us wait and watch and see if that does happen. But if there's no money, I know things cannot happen as how persons and ourselves would like to see certain things happen. Comes down to having the resources to get it done. Comes down to having the resources. The leaks are going to continue until the money is found to deal with the repiping. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. Who does I heard? I heard somebody today saying that they observe the number of burst pipes around the country. That's just going to be a part of it. That's just we're gonna have to live with that. When you want to push certain things, and as was said, I heard Knight playing the clip. Sometimes you might have to just suffer those kind of things in order to get water to some people. That is the challenge there. But one thing I know for sure, when the main pipe bursts and them run, somebody go pay for the waste of water there. Somebody's gonna pay for it, and I suspect that he's going to be the man at the end of the table.
Singing thanks and praise to the Most High, it's Christmas. Time to celebrate, here's the reason why it's Christmas. I could have hardly sleep all night, I peeped to catch Santa Claus under the tree. Give thanks and praise to the Most High, it's Christmas. I could have hardly wait for the blessed day, it's Christmas. I wake up in a flurry and I get up in a hurry, it's Christmas. I run downstairs before I say my prayers, but when I reached the tree I couldn't fight the tears, cause nothing taller than there for me this Christmas. I was so distraught, all I get is not this Christmas. I had me list, not a thing I missed this Christmas. No, I didn't lie, oh yeah, no I didn't cheat. Always eat me fungi and brush my teeth. Still nothing taller than there for me this Christmas. But then I see Santa coming down the road, yes. He have a big fat belly and a donkey with a load, yes. I run so fast I nearly kill the ox. He watched me like a crazy but I had to ask, Santa, how come you do me that this Christmas? He didn't look so jolly when he heaved a sigh this Christmas. He said, sonny boy, I apologize this Christmas. You see, I try my best to fill your requests. Every year I'm flying from east to west for little picky nigga who behave the little self for Christmas. But Antigua hot like fire and me reindeer tired this Christmas. Me slave mash up in a pothole on all Saints Road this Christmas, Lord. Me can't take it, Jack. Look on me face turn black, and when rain with the list I couldn't get it back. That's why nothing tall on the there for you this Christmas. I must confess that I was quite distressed this Christmas. I was feeling really sorry when I hear the story this Christmas. You tell me you are just a little boy and while you might not get a toy, you got a reason to be happy for your mommy and your daddy, even if nothing tall on the there for you this Christmas. And then I hear Santa, ho, 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 ho. He says, sonny, don't you worry cause I got something for you. I got a hand of green banana and a bag of yam, a dozen sweet potatoes straight from the land. Be thankful little boy that you have something you could yam for Christmas. And then I see Santa going down the road, oh yes. He have a pickaxe on his shoulder and a donkey with a load, oh no. His face was black like sin, my son.
I think my belly would agree. I don't need nothing from the tree for Christmas.
All right. I was just trying to set up some things there. Just now, the time in studio now is 2 minutes before the 10 p.m. hour. 2 minutes before the 10 p.m. hour. Before 10 p.m. Yes, 9:58 p.m. And as I was saying earlier, the two representatives out of the Ministry of Finance was on ABS on Monday, last Monday, and I find that some very important information was given to the public, and I'm prepared to put much weight, to put weight on what they would have said, and what they would have said. Let me put it that way. Being technicians and not having no skin in the game from a political standpoint. So I found that some of the things that they said was quite instructive. I find so. But before I get into what the FS especially had to say, let me start with this one.
In order for the government to provide the goods and services which all in our society rightfully
No. Wrong one. That's wrong. That is wrong. Not that one there. That's not what I want to start with at all. That was the PM speaking. That was the PM speaking, I believe, in Parliament at the budget, during the budget debate. What we know, 2023, the early part of this year. No, that's not what I want. That's not what I want at all. I'm not gonna start off. Let me just find the one. Okay, that one there. Sorry about that, people. I clicked on the wrong one. Okay, this is the one that I want to start with, and then we will go into what the officials in the ministry had to say.
In order for the government to provide the goods and services.
No. What's happening here, boy? Okay. I see what happened. I thought I was doing the wrong thing, but no. It's okay. The first part is what the Prime Minister would have said in the debate, as I said. So let's listen to the whole thing. Pull back that, and let's start here.
In order for the government to provide the goods and services which all in our society rightfully expects, concessions will have to be strictly managed in 2023. So this routine expectation for concessions should come to an end immediately. And if you do get concessions, it will be on an exceptional basis, unless it is for business purposes or perhaps for some large capital process or project in which we will give the concessions in order to reduce the variability risk associated with the project.
When you look at what we have done with duty frees, any one of you in this committee who want to duty free, just come to the Prime Minister's office and get them. And that are not to do the re-election. Since we found the governance of this country in 2014, every day we have people come and they say, look, Gaston Brown, I want duty free. I'm going to say you're Antiguan, well sure you can get them.
Alright, so that is how I'm going to lead into the discussion that came out of with the officials that were on ABS television on Monday. And it's important that we make sure that we have the thing correct chronologically. You would have heard, I think it was in March, I believe the budget debate was in March 2023, if my memory serves me correct. And it was at that point in time that the government, and I don't want to personalize it to the Prime Minister, because it's a cabinet decision. It's a government thing. So I don't want to really personalize it to no one person. But the government position was during the debate time that I believe they referred to them as discretionary concessions would be reduced based on the certain challenges that the government had to meet to certain creditors. That was the position in the debate, and then leading up to the by-election. And again, the policy of the government was, if you wanted a duty-free, you come to the Prime Minister's office. Want to be an Antigua and get a duty-free. Both policies seems to be at odds for me. I don't know how it is for you, but it seems to be at odds for me. But we're going to be hearing more about the discretionary exemptions. We're going to hear the FS speak about that as we go down. But let's start off with Mr. Jermaine Jarvis. Let's start off down. Let's go down.
From the inland revenues perspective, there are some specific tax that have been performing. The corporate income tax, the Antigua-Barbuda sales tax, those are all major revenue earners. We also see some increases in the stamp duty, which is the transfer tax on properties, and those are the tax revenues that are generally performing from the land side, inland revenues perspective.
All right, so that's the first thing that I want to get on the table. That is the major revenue earners for the government. Now, let's go to the FS, speaking about capital expenditure. And I'm not an economist. I yield to the economists in this kind of thing. As I said, two things I yield upon is insurance and labor relations. But my understanding of capital expenditure is those projects that the government would have to work on. But let's hear what she says about it.
As I mentioned before, when we talked about expenditure, notice I didn't speak about capital expenditure. Our capital expenditure should be somewhere in the region of at least 5% of GDP. We're nowhere near that. And that is a problem. We need the resources to be able to fund that.
Let's go again.
As I mentioned before, when we talked about expenditure, notice I didn't speak about capital expenditure. Our capital expenditure should be somewhere in the region of at least 5% of GDP. We're nowhere near that. And that is a problem. We need the resources to be able to fund that.
No. When she was speaking about capital expenditure, I don't think she was just speaking about for this year, this current year that we're in. I don't think so. In terms of where we are, where we need to get to. Right? And again, this is it. Well, for me at least, this is important because this is against the backdrop where revenues are not available to deal with these issues because the revenues are being given away as they would say, as you will hear them say also, from the oh man, the word just slipped in there just now. I just looked out there on the television and it kind of distracted me. The discretionary section. I remember might have been the Prime Minister in question and answers indicating that statutory deductions, not deductions, that will go to that. Statutory exemptions. That's a matter of law. That's, this is what the law says. You invest X amount of money. This is what you're entitled to. That's a matter of law. I don't think that is necessarily the problem, because the government has acknowledged that whatever amendments were made had to be done so that we remain competitive regionally. So I don't think the problem is too much on that side. The problem is on the discretionary side, right? So when I heard the FSC that you just don't have what you need to have on the capital side because you don't have the money, that part there jumped at me. I found that to be important. Now, when the discussion started, when the discussion started initially with the 2%, the additional 2%, we were told that the 2% or the money was necessary to cover the increase in pay that was agreed upon between the government and the different public sector unions. And that's what we heard initially. We will see what the officials them say. But having said that, I want for persons to understand, and again, if I'm incorrect, what I'm saying is incorrect. Member of the union or whoever it is negotiating with the government can call me and can WhatsApp me to correct me. The what it was 14%. The 14% increase is applicable for the period 2018, 2019, 2020. The 14% is applicable for those 3 years. The government and the different public sector unions, I'm not sure if it's just the ABPSA alone or there's some others, they're in discussion now, which is covering the period 21, 22, and 23. That contract period ends at the end of this month, December. I know, well, I've been told that the union have made certain proposals to the government that was not accepted. I don't know if we're going to, or even when we're going to come to some commonality with that. But I'm just saying that to say, bear in mind, if taxes have to be raised to cover the 14% that is up to 2020, what will happen when 21, 22, 23 is finalized, and then you start the negotiation for the current year, which would be starting in January of next year.
What is essential is that for indirect taxes, it is borne by a broader base of the population, where for direct taxes, it's generally borne by a few. So you look at prime example, the ABST will be paid by more persons as we purchase goods and services. However, something like income tax would be paid generally, especially when they're implemented with thresholds, generally paid by a narrow group of persons.
All right, so that was just Mr. Jarvis. Where did I say Lewis? Well, I had Jermaine Lewis in my mind. Not Jermaine Lewis, the politician over there. Jermaine Jarvis, indicating the indirect tax covering a broader base of persons as opposed to the personal income tax. Because as we would have known, when the personal income tax was implemented by the UPP, I think persons who did not earn in excess of, if it wasn't $3,000 or $3,500, somewhere around there, they would not. You would have to earn in excess of that to then fall into the band where personal income tax would be taken from you. You can decide for yourself which you prefer: the indirect tax, which covers the broad base, or the personal income tax, where there is a threshold set before that starts.
I say this because there are persons who do business with government currently. And I said the dreaded word arrears a while ago, and it's no secret. The government owes contractors, suppliers, what we call our floating debt. And it must be frustrating at times for persons doing business with government. It is not an issue that we do not want to pay. You've seen the numbers. The difference between what expenditure is, even at 21% of GDP, and we see what revenues are at 18, if you're looking at all revenues, or tax revenues at 14, 15%. The disparity there means we're going to have the difficulties that we have. And we also see the investments that need to take place in terms of capital and infrastructure development is not happening as rapidly as we would want it to, because we don't have the resources available.
That was the FS speaking to what they refer to as the floating debt. Sorry about that. That was the FS speaking to what they refer to as a floating debt, and we're back to the capital projects.
I say this because there are persons who do business with government currently. And I said the dreaded word arrears a while ago, and it's no secret. The government owes contractors, suppliers, what we call our floating debt. And it must be frustrating at times for persons doing business with government. It is not an issue that we do not want to pay. You've seen the numbers. The difference between what expenditure is, even at 21% of GDP, and we see what revenues are at 18, if you're looking at all revenues, or tax revenues at 14, 15%. The disparity there means we're going to have the difficulties that we have. And we also see the investments that need to take place in terms of capital and infrastructure development is not happening as rapidly as we would want it to because we don't have the resources available.
All right. Since the government got into power, or into government, since the administration got into government, and now we have been hearing about projects and projects and projects. I would have heard former junior minister in the finance department, that's Mr. Lennox Weston, spoke about the different companies and the bargain that they push for in order to invest. And in his words, you know what, should I say what his words say, or should I play what he said? Could I, where is that? Was that in 2023? I don't think so. Was it? Might have been. Lennox Weston. Let me just see if I can find that. Nope. I'm gonna have to go to another. I'm gonna have to go to another player. Just bear with me, people. Didn't really have this lined up to play, but just as what I'm going to say. I like when persons hear, what people have to say. I don't necessarily want nobody to say beef say, and we must hear what they have to say. And I have space for Lennox contributions. I think that he knows what he's talking about personally. So as I was saying now, we've heard a discussion in relation to projects and projects and projects. Let's see what the former junior minister of finance had to say. And as old people always say colloquially, if Barracuda come and tell a shark drown, you can go down and find out, I can believe Barracuda.
In Antigua and most Caribbean countries, because of Sir Lewis' view way back, they felt we could only develop by attracting foreign investors and investment. And these white guys are very smart. They know we're desperate, we're small, we don't have much choices, and they demand all kind of tax concessions, 20, 30, 40 years. So imagine you're making money, and government usually makes money from taxing you, but now you can't tax them. So you cut off government flow. So we have had an economy which has grown by 5, 6, 7% on average, except for the COVID years. But the revenues have gone down because every development, they have asked for even more and more concessions. The one in Barbuda is just ridiculous. And I have said, in terms of tax concessions, I mean, it's just page and page and page and page. And they're getting the best land and view in the world for private housing for rich folks. Where if they live in California and New York, they pay huge amount of taxes. But they want to get the best natural environment and don't pay a little tax for us. And that has to change.
All right. So that there was the former minister, junior minister, the Ministry of Finance. You can decide who you want to believe when you hear the conversations. You can decide who you want to believe. So, sticking to the line of investments, we would have just heard the former minister speak about the FDIs and where it is. Let's hear what the FS has to say.
As my colleague and I would have said, and all of our colleagues at the ministry, we just want to get to the point where we are seeing investments at a level that benefits the population, at the level that we think it should be.
Let's go again.
As my colleague and I would have said, and all of our colleagues at the ministry, we just want to get to the point where we are seeing investments at a level that benefits the population, at the level that we think it should be.
All right. So, if the technicians are saying we would like to see investments where we in the country benefit, and then you now listen to what Lennox would have said, it seems as if all the investment that we're hearing about, where's the benefit for the country? Because remember, the FS, the recommendations that they would have made to the government, what they're making now, is because the government is at a stage where they're having a serious problem with money. You would have heard what she said in relation to the capital project that they can't do because they don't have the revenue. No, remember when we started initially, we would have said what the government position was back in March when they had the debate, the budget debate. What was said leading up to the by-election in St. Mary's South. Let's hear what the technicians are saying again.
And another critical recommendation that we made is in respect of tax incentives and exemptions. Now, we need to rationalize. We do need to encourage investment, and the government does offer, by way of the Investment Authority Act and a number of the Small Business Development Act as well, there are incentives given for businesses, for hotel development, and for commercial development generally. And that is important. For a small island state like ours, we do need to attract investment. That's really crucial for the growth that we realize. And it's important for us to provide a competitive and generous incentives package. However, as technicians in the Ministry of Finance, we do think there's scope for adjusting and rationalizing the incentives. And we want to ensure for startups, without a doubt, we are going to provide the funding, or we should provide incentives for investors to develop and for their startup. Once we get into the operation, we do need to look at the level of exemptions that are being granted for persons, for businesses that are involved in the operational phase of their cycle.
All right. So, in addition to the droning in honey in relation to the discretionary pensions, she's now talking about, before time we've had discussions on this already, I know for sure, where a business starts up and it gets 15, 20, 25 years tax exemptions as they're starting up. But when those run out, then they come back and tell the government that if we don't get an extension or renewal, the business have to close. That's what she's talking about when she's saying that we have to rationalize. We being the government have to rationalize that.
I would say we certainly...
No, not there yet. Back up here.
And another critical recommendation that we made is in respect of tax incentives and exemptions. Now, we need to rationalize. We do need to encourage investment, and the government does offer, by way of the Investment Authority Act and a number of the Small Business Development Act as well, there are incentives given for businesses, for hotel development, and for commercial development generally. And that is important. For a small island state like ours, we do need to attract investment. That's really crucial for the growth that we realize. And it's important for us to provide a competitive and generous incentives package. However, as technicians in the Ministry of Finance, we do think there's scope for adjusting and rationalizing the incentives. And we want to ensure for startups, without a doubt, we are going to provide the funding, or we should provide incentives for investors to develop and for their startup. Once we get into the operation, we do need to look at the level of exemptions that are being granted for businesses that are involved in the operational phase of their cycle.
All right, so that was the FS there. Now, we would know that leading into the 2014 elections, yes, the debate that raged in this country in relation to the PIT and the UPP having reintroduced the personal income tax was soundly beaten. You know that. We would have heard, and this is why I said, I don't necessarily listen to what politicians say. I hear them. I hear what they say. I try to verify what is said before I run with it. As I said to some of my friends and them, Nambalumba gave me some advice when I started in radio. I remember I was an observer on High Street, and Nambalumba said, "Boy, radio worse than prostitution." So what I mean? Say, yeah, man, everybody want to use you for them agenda. And I never forgot that. So, I hear politicians talk and I hear what they say. I don't take it as gospel. I try to verify it. So, the UPP would have gotten a bashing over the PIT. And again, remember, what we're hearing when the FS came to the FS and Mr. Jarvis came to the public, they would have come having gone through an exercise, looking at things, making recommendations to the government. The government will make the final decision as to what recommendation is accepted, yes or no. But their recommendation is based on the state of the country, the state of the economy, and as they see it. So, again, as I said, for the most part, I don't think that the recommendation given is colored red or blue. I don't necessarily think so. Red, blue, orange, or green, and any other color that comes in between. But when I heard this, I smiled.
I would say we certainly proposed as an option the personal income tax, but that certainly is not an option that's being considered. And
the finance ministry recommended reimposing personal income tax?
We have to, based on where we are, based on the numbers I've given you, the persistent deficits, that's one of the options that was put on the table as well.
Let's go again.
I would say we certainly proposed as an option the personal income tax, but that certainly is not an option that's being considered. And
the finance ministry recommended reimposing personal income tax?
We have to, based on where we are, based on the numbers I've given you, the persistent deficits, that's one of the options that was put on the table as well.
So, remember, these are the same technicians who suggested the 2% increase on the ABSD. And I would have played where Mr. Jarvis, I believe his name is Jermaine Jarvis, indicated the difference between the ABSD and the personal income tax being, that was the second clip, the third one I played, where he says the indirect taxes is borne by a broader base, whereas the direct taxes like the PIT is borne by a smaller base, smaller number of people, and as I would have said, there would have been a buffer. I think you see that it was $3,000 or $3,500. So persons beneath that would not be paying any personal income tax. And you would have heard the FS say, based on the numbers, why they would have made a recommendation that they have to make based on where they see the economy. Now, it is true that, as I said, the government makes the final decision. The government makes the final decision. And we know that philosophically, the Labour Party position is that they don't believe in PIT because it might hamper disposable income for some people in creating some or paying for some jobs, like, you know what I mean, people who cut grass, that kind of stuff. That is the debate. I'm just putting both sides of the discussion, and then you can decide for yourself where you are. So, the present government favors a tax that will affect the broader section, a broader base, as opposed to a direct tax that would not affect that broader base, and more than likely, persons who are making monies would be the ones who are paying. I think that's reasonable to say. Yes. No. It was being pushed also in relation to the 2% being put on. That, you know, there's a basket of goods, and you know, a lot of people is not going to affect the 2% is not going to affect a lot of people, because the basket of goods is so extensive that persons would that. No, I'm not going to go to the list that the gentleman produced. Was speaking to. I'll just go to when the question was put to him.
So somebody can, when the ABSC at either 15% of it is now, or 17%, when it goes to 17%, somebody can actually go to the supermarket or to the shop and buy all zero-rated items and therefore pay no ABSC.
No ABSC fees.
Okay.
But that is highly unlikely.
That is highly unlikely. Right? So when you hear some supporters, some persons saying, you know, it is not going to affect. It's not going to affect you because most of the goods that you buy, or the goods that you buy, is in the basket of goods. You know, how realistic is that? How realistic? How can somebody go to the supermarket and buy items that are all zero rated?
So somebody can, when the ABSC at either 15% of it is now, or 17%, when it goes to 17%, somebody can actually go to the supermarket or to the shop and buy all zero-rated items and therefore pay no ABSC.
No ABSC fees.
Okay.
But that is highly unlikely.
That is highly unlikely. Another thing that was being pushed was that, and I said it earlier, that the 2% increase was needed to cover the increase in pay that the government had agreed to. You know, basically that's what was being said. Again, if I'm saying something here that's not the case, feel free to give me a call, 462-1100 or 464-4201, and correct me. But I just don't want to call the names of the persons who I heard with that. But we all heard them. They've been on multiple numerous radio programs indicating that, you know, this 2% increase is to cover. As a matter of fact, I think it was even said that the increase is going to cost the government $40 million, and the yield would be around the same $40 million. I think that was even said. Let's see what the technician is saying as to whether or not the 2% would be limited to that or what.
Certainly the anticipation is in 2024 and beyond we will see we return to 2019 levels and even more, and certainly that will have a greater impact on revenue generated. But for the time being, we determined it's important to be conservative and at least ensure that the measures that we identify, including this 2 percentage point increase in the ABSC, is going to get us the revenues we need to cover the expenses that we've identified, as you mentioned before, in respect of the increase for public servants. And just, of course, that's not the only thing. It also needs to fund general expenditure for government and addressing arrears to suppliers and contractors as well. Go ahead.
Listen to the last part again.
Certainly the anticipation is in 2024 and beyond we will see we return to 2019 levels and even more, and certainly that will have a greater impact on revenue generated. But for the time being, we determined it's important to be conservative and at least ensure that the measures that we identify, including this 2%, 2 percentage point increase in the ABST, is going to get us the revenues we need to cover the expenses that we've identified, as you mentioned before, in respect of the increase for public servants. And just, of course, that's not the only thing. It also needs to fund general expenditure for government and addressing arrears to suppliers and contractors as well.
All right, so that would put to rest what you would have heard some person speaking about, that the adjustment is to cover only the increase in our government increase burden as a result of the increase, salary increase that was given. This other one that I'm going to play now, this one kind of caught me off guard, to be honest. Well, quite, right now, there's also a discussion raging in relation to national housing. The word on the street is that the gentleman who used to run national housing was sent back to his original job at Public Works. That's the word on the street. There's an executive chairman now, I'm made to understand, in place down there in the name of Mr. Turner. Apparently Mr. Turner is the caretaker, was the candidate for the Labour Party in the St. Peter's constituency in the last general elections. And there's some other things that we're hearing, some other rumblings that we're hearing on the street in relation to NAMCO. NAMCO has always been a topic of discussion for years now. As a matter of fact, I was at a particular place yesterday, and there was a discussion going on there with some lands that are being cleared. If you know that turn off Fragile Main Road going up to the stadium, golf course. On the left hand side there, you see some lands being cleared there and other places around the general area. Where I was, they were saying that those lands apparently were agricultural lands in the Ministry of Agriculture that is being transferred to national housing. I'm not sure if they're going to be going into building additional houses on those lands, or they're going to be cut up and sold, or they're going to be given to somebody to build houses. I'm not sure. But that's a discussion that's ongoing now. Where I was again, it is being said that the equipment that are working there belong to a certain politician. Now I call the name on the radio, but there's investigation still ongoing. But I'm told that the equipment belongs to a certain politician. And the question that I asked in relation to that whole thing is whether or not the work went out to tender or anything like that. I'm not saying that whoever is doing the work, whatever they would have charged is not reasonable. But if when it comes to in a small society, certain things you want to be sure that you cover all the bases. But I know that there's some investigations ongoing in relation to that. But the most that I'll say, from what I would have heard, is that there's a certain politician equipment that's doing the work. I haven't heard nothing being said to the public in relation to that, whether lots are being sold or what. Maybe I might have missed it. I'm not too sure. But I myself haven't heard it. But when she said this in relation to NAMCO and national housing, it kind of stunned me.
How are collections from NAMCO, that's the National Asset Management Company, and National Housing categorized, and what is their contribution to revenues collected? So NAMCO and National Housing, how are those categorized, and what is their contribution to revenues collected?
So those would fall under, just as our investments in WEOC or ECAB and other corporations, NAMCO and National Housing would be entities in which the government has invested. So revenues from those would be derived from dividends when they generate a profit. At this point, neither of those corporations, from last time I checked, would have generated profits, so no dividends would have flowed from those entities to government. But that's where it would fall in our non-tax revenue.
Come again.
How are collections from NAMCO, that's the National Asset Management Company, and National Housing categorized, and what is their contribution to revenues collected? So NAMCO and National Housing, how are those categorized, and what is their contribution to revenues collected?
So those would fall under, just as our investments in WEOC or ECAB and other corporations, NAMCO and National Housing would be entities in which the government has invested. So revenues from those would be derived from dividends when they generate a profit. At this point, neither of those corporations, from last time I checked, would have generated profits, so no dividends would have flowed from those entities to government. But that's where it would fall in our non-tax revenue.
Yeah. So as I said, that surprised me when I heard that, and I'm sure that some other questions will be asked. That was quite strange. That was quite strange to me. So, you heard it for yourself. You heard it for yourself. What was said by the technicians, and of course they are available. They have all the different information available to them, why they could have come to the public and say certain things. And I'm just going to play one more. There's some other thing, but because of time constraints, I'm not going to get into that, but I want to play this one because there has been some discussions about it, and I think I want to play it.
What is the compliance rate of ABST payments today? Perhaps you want to take that, Mr. Jarvis?
Yeah, so the compliance rate ranges across sector. So generally, our ABST has a very good compliance rate. Particularly in our large taxpayers or clients, compliance rate is above 80%. And we do have lower percent, maybe 70% or so in our medium to small taxpayers. But compliance rate for ABST is not a major issue.
Not a major issue?
No.
All right. I don't know if Mr. Jarvis, is Jarvis, right? Yeah, I don't know if Mr. Jarvis is listening. Mr. Jarvis, we would have heard the question and heard your answer. All that I'll say is some further information might be coming forward. Let me just leave it at that. Further information might be coming forward in relation to your answer, the answer that you gave as to whether or not the ABST is performing or not. All I'll say to you, sir, you know what? Let me not say the party. Let me leave the party alone. Let me just say that there's certain investigations ongoing in relation to the answer that you would have given, and God's willing, time will tell. God's willing, time will tell. That there is what I'm going to speak to in relation to that outing. I would believe that ABS has the video up on his Facebook page, so persons can go and listen to the entire thing, and I would encourage persons to go and listen to the entire thing and make up your mind as to what or who you're going to believe. Today's what date? Yesterday I was listening to Damani Tabor and Jackie Quinn, and I heard something that again piqued my interest. For years, it has been a problem, and you'll hear what they're saying about it. I don't know, in a modern country, how these things are allowed to happen. I really don't know. Whether it is the opposition not doing their work or what, I don't know how it happens. If I'm not mistaken, some time ago, a lister went to court to force, I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly I'm not sure if it was the central government or maybe a statutory body. They were supposed to lay certain documents before Parliament, which they didn't do. And he went to court with it and was successful. To the best of my knowledge, most statutory bodies are governed by a statute. That's why they call them statutory bodies. And that statute would tell you how the organization is to run. It would go down to even to the point of saying audited financial statement should be submitted to the Parliament within maybe the first quarter following the respective year. You know what I mean? They vary a little, but most of them say the same thing. No, at the point in time when these accounts are laid before Parliament, they become public documents, and persons are at liberty to maybe get copies and study them and see what is what. It is true that sometimes we the public, even though the information is available, we don't utilize it, we don't go and look at it. Because I know recently somebody told me when I was asking certain questions about certain things, somebody told me if you look at the last set of statements that was put before Parliament for APOA, if you look at it and analyze it, you will be surprised with some of the things that you see. That's what the person said to me. But when I heard the conversation, my mind ran back to that. I don't know, and I think it should be of utmost importance to any board that runs any of these statutory bodies to see to it that their financials are up to date and hand it over to the minister, to the government, so that it could be placed in Parliament so people would know. I can remember that there was a big hoopla in relation to that, in relation to the same national housing. I can remember there was a big hoopla to that. I'm not sure how that ended, to be honest with you. I'm not sure how that ended. But what I will say is that, again, some measure of blame, in my opinion, must be put to the opposition party. One thing you can't say with the Labour Party, when Labour Party is in opposition, they certainly know how to use the court. I don't know how come they don't work with the UPP, but the Labour Party certainly don't do that. But here's a comment.
And so in our mission to increase accountability, the Public Accounts Committee met, and we have requested of the Director of Audit every single audited statement for every single statutory body, of which I believe there are about 24 of them, in addition to every management letter, because the management letter gives you additional insight on top of the audited statements. The Director of Audit has already told the opposition leader, well, a lot of them he don't have because they don't exist. So we have accountability. You must first account for your fiscal performance. NAMCO, the never-ending dredging, the burning of hundreds of millions of dollars at national housing, which was brought to our attention by Lennox Western. We need accountability in this country before you increase the suffering and hardship on the people and small businesses with this draconian 13% effective raise in the ABST.
Well, the part that interests me the most was if what he said, well, I'm playing it, if the auditor know that nothing goes up, they can come and correct him. But this is what the auditor said to him.
And so in our mission, to increase accountability.
This is what I just said to them, according to the man at the table.
And so in our mission to increase accountability, the Public Accounts Committee met, and we have requested of the Director of Audit every single audited statement for every single statutory body, of which I believe there are about 24 of them, in addition to every management letter, because the management letter gives you additional insight on top of the audited statements. The Director of Audit has already told the opposition leader, well, a lot of them he don't have because they don't exist. So we have to count.
How is that possible? If the law says that audited statements are to be placed before Parliament for statutory bodies, how is it possible that they're not available? That's my question. How is it possible that they're not available? Alright, let us continue to watch there, because for sure, if I know myself good enough, we're going to be coming back to that in the future. Time in studio, 10:49 p.m. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Christmas is coming, every child is hoping. Dear old Santa will come calling. Oh, 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 oh. How will Santa get here? Promise from Mama, promise from Papa, that come Christmas there'll be many gifts from Santa. Oh, 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 oh. How will Santa get here? There is no reindeer in my country. He'll have to borrow me neighbor donkey. Oh, 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 oh. How will Santa get here? Oh, 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 oh. How will Santa get here? Has no snow, the house has no chimney, so how will Santa really get to me? Oh, 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 oh. How will Santa get here? If his house is so far, far from Antigua, how he's going to get across all that water? Oh, 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 oh. How will Santa get here? There is no reindeer in my country. He'll have to borrow me neighbor donkey. Oh, 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 oh. How will Santa get here? Oh, oh.
Oh, yeah. Hey, welcome back, welcome back.
How?
Time in studio, 10:51 p.m. Hey, Dave Vive Joseph in the company.
Mama wouldn't lie, me papa wouldn't lie. As you close your eye, Santa coming back.
Yes, I can see the cursors moving in the background.
Oh, oh.
Look like Sidenga left Sean folder open tonight. Hi.
A big bag of goodies, down for the West Indies. Still I have a question, what's his transportation? Oh, 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 oh. How will Santa get here? There is no reindeer in my country. He'll have to fly on Liat or Biwi. Oh, 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 oh. How will Santa get here? Oh, 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 oh. How will Santa get here? Oh, oh,
let me see what they have up here. Okay, look as if they've completed putting up what they're putting up. So let me see what this has to say coming out of Sean's folder. Aye.
Two civil servant representatives state that the workers at the Labor Department have also been agitating for proper building maintenance and sufficient supply of drinking water.
The same department, ministry that police this labor code hasn't had water for over a year. Drinking water, I said. They have to be going into their pockets. The Labor Department,
right,
has to be going into their pockets, pulling up to buy water.
After work for such small salary.
And when you call the PS, she send you to the Labor Commissioner. The Labor Commissioner say, go to the PS. They just have me all over the place calling to see where you're supposed to get the water from. You call the minister say, nothing goes, so they have water down there. So the staff, maybe they're dreaming or something.
Has he visited the office?
Well, I'm not sure if he did.
Boy. Let's go again.
Two civil servant representatives state that the workers at the Labor Department have also been agitating for proper building maintenance and sufficient supply of drinking water.
The same department, ministry that police this labor code hasn't had water for over a year. Drinking water, I said. They have to be going into their pockets. The Labor Department,
right,
has to be going into their pockets, pulling up to buy water.
After work for such small salary.
And when you call the PS, she send you to the Labor Commissioner. The Labor Commissioner say, go to the PS. They just have me all over the place calling to see where you're supposed to get the water from. You call the minister say, nothing goes, so they have water down there. So the staff, maybe they're dreaming or something.
Has he visited the office?
Well, I'm not sure if he did.
Now let me tell you why this is such a joke. A joke to me. As the lady would have said in the beginning, the Labor Department is the department that polices the labor code. So if I'm here at ZDK, if I'm a worker here at ZDK, and ZDK don't provide water for me to drink, I can take that matter before the Labor Department. The Labor Department will deal with management according to the law. Can you imagine the same department can provide the same water for what we might not be able to give it? And I was having that conversation with somebody yesterday, and they told me that in their department it was the same thing. I'm now even hearing that it seems as if printer, ink, not printer. It seems as if ink is a scarce commodity. And again, you listen to all these discussions against the backdrop that things are very good. Things that, well, as a matter of fact, look at my line up here. We don't even realize it is what comes next.
The implementation of the 2% tax does not indicate any worsening economic situation. It really is saying that the government has increased obligations, and so the government must increase its yield on taxes to be able to meet those obligations. The fact that we're not going to be saying that, it's not like we're saying that because of the need for the government to meet its obligations, it cannot do any other program. It cannot satisfy any other social, cultural obligations.
Is all the Lord good? I didn't even realize that is what I had lined up to play next. The 2%, the increase in the 2% is not because of a worsening economic situation.
The implementation of the 2% tax does not indicate any worsening economic situation. It really is saying that the government has increased obligations, and so the government must increase its yield on taxes to be able to meet those obligations. The fact that we're not going to be saying that, it's not like we're saying that because of the need for the government to meet its obligations, it cannot do any other program. It cannot satisfy any other social, cultural obligations.
You decide. You decide, my people. You decide. What am I looking for now? Beef. I hear also is West getting a new candidate. I'm not sure which party the person is referring to. Well, I believe they're referring to the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. I hear so too. I hear initially that there were two persons who might be contesting in a by-election, not a by-election, primary election up there. But I'm hearing now that it might be three. I'm hearing now that it might be three. If that is the case, if and when one of them lose, somebody have to look out for the person. I don't know most people say. Even when one of them lose, somebody really have to look out for the person because... No, let me leave it at that. Somebody got to look out for the person. Even when somebody lose. But I too hear that. I hear WhatsApper. I heard that it was supposed to be two candidates, but I'm hearing now that is going to be three. Or that it is three. That's what I'm hearing. So let's wait and watch and see. Let's wait and watch and see. I didn't think I touched on it. I see somebody send me a WhatsApp on it, but I didn't touch on it. Yes, I heard of I keep saying by-election, primary that was held down in St. John's Rural West by the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. From what I've gleaned, the number of persons who participated worked out to be 1/3 of the number of persons who were registered. That's what I was told. So you can decide for yourself how the party work. You can decide that for yourself.
Santa Claus, do you ever come to the ghetto? Santa Claus, do you ever wonder why we're suffering so? Santa Claus, when will you come to the ghetto? Santa Claus, we would like to see how your reindeer go. All year long we've been beating down time, how we hold on to those hard times. We ain't gonna fight, we ain't gonna fuss, we're all the presents that you brought for us. Santa Claus, do you ever come to the ghetto?
1 minute after the 11 p.m. hour.
Do you ever want?
And I'm going to get ready to get out of here. Let me just say thank you to those persons who would have WhatsApp. Some of them there can't read on air. You know, I don't want to call nobody name and get sued. Hey, but thanks for staying the course with me. To the silent majority, those who are just going to listen. Hey, thank you for staying the course with me. Hey, for those persons who are going to go back and listen to the video when the video done, so that I can see them. Hey, thank you for doing that. Alright. Hey, remember, hey, try to keep us safe as possible. Hey, for the ladies who reside alone, please burn a little extra electricity. Your security is priority number one. And remember, hey, to keep the Almighty God as your guide, because with Him in your boat, you can certainly smile at the storm. And never ever forget, if the Almighty brings you to it, He certainly will bring you through it.
Do you ever come to the ghetto? Santa Claus, do you ever wonder why we suffer so? Santa Claus.
Hey, let me just say big up to my neighbor. Hey, your home king.
Santa Claus, we would like to see.
I hope and trust that all is going good down there. Big up yourself, king.
All year long we be beating down time, but how we hold on to those hard times. We ain't gonna fight, we ain't gonna fuss, we're out of the presents that you brought for us.
the celebration of VC birthday will be on Monday. Hey, for those who might want to go to the service, my understanding is that there'll be a service tomorrow at the Salvation Army. And Burning Flames will be having something, a jump on come Monday. More like a family affair, you know. And for persons who will be going to the jump on, you know, hey, let's keep the violence out of things, man. Let's just go out and enjoy ourselves for those of us who are going out. Hey, so until we come together again, I'm not sure if I'll be here next week. I'll have to speak to management to see what's happening with the programming. But if we don't speak again, let me just wish everybody a happy and a merry Christmas. I hope and trust that the Lord will grant us life so that we could celebrate many more Christmases together. When will you come to the ghetto? Hey, so people, love you. I'm out of here. Talk to you a little later, man. Hey, Santa Claus in Antigua is ham and turkey that will Lego before the 17%. Hey, like you know something I mean, no?
Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. When Taylor comes on felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a red hot Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a red hot Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Up with it, city sidewalk, this is holiday style. In the air, there's a feeling of Christmas. Children laughing, people passing, meeting smile after smile, and on every street corner you hear silver bell, silver bell. It's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, hear the ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day. Soon it will be Christmas Day. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas. Oh, come on, the faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come, to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, on the King of David. Oh, come, let us adore. Oh, come, let us adore. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas. You know I think when people got their never brought to mind. You know the way them people got their all that time. You know I think when people got their never brought to mind. You know the way them people got their all that time. Come on and time, my friend, come on and time. We'll take a cup of time, we said come on and time. Come on and time, my friend, come on and time. We'll take a cup of time, we said come and time. Show all the things and people that can never go to mind. We play them first. People that can all and time. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas, come with it. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas, come with it. Red hot Christmas, be happy now. Red hot Christmas, be happy now.
Studios located in the capital city of St. John's, Antigua in the Caribbean Sea.
Okay, stop there.
And our transmitter located at the highest point peak in the parish of St. Mary. This is ZDK Liberty Radio International 97.1 FM, the People's Radio Station.